had a newborn and was really struggling to, yeah, I think I was living in victim mode without really realizing it. And I always assumed that victim mode was for weak people, and I'd never identified as that. So I, I struggled to really come to that realization, I think. Um, but I was just having a really tough time communicating my needs.
And it's incredible when you just have someone guide you and shine a light on those blind spots, right? Those areas that you don't
Oh,
see.
that's ridiculous. And I've always prided myself on being so self-aware. It's quite confronting to realize that you've got these massive blind spots that you just assumed were everyone else's problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But those blind spots, we all have them, right? They're human. And that's why
Yeah.
coaches have coaches.
Yeah, that was really helpful as well. And I think for me, I didn't realize that actually I needed coaching. Like I talked ad nauseum through what I perceived were my issues and trauma, and waited. I was kind of waiting to strike this magic point where I'd expressed it fully enough that it was all just going to unravel, magically. Which in hindsight is really naive, but yeah, that's what honestly I thought I needed. But this approach kind of just put the onus back on me. It's like, okay, well, this is how you've been wired, and this is what you're dealing with. What are you going to do about it?
Amazing. So in terms of that hard wiring and those emotional patterns, like
Mm.
how has that awareness and that ability to identify with them and know how to release them, how has that impacted you as a mum?
Hugely, significantly. I think it made me really conscious of the patterns that I could unconsciously pass down if I didn't shine a light on them and muscle up to deal with them. And that kind of, I think, scared me a little bit. I definitely have a tendency to, yeah, blame other people for everything that goes wrong, and recognizing I have control over that and control over the patterns I want to pass down was significant for sure. Um, it just made me realize as well that if I can't identify my own needs, how can I recognize my son's and meet his as well, you know? Or, as an extension of me, almost avoid suppressing his needs too, in order to satisfy the rest of the world's demand for, yeah, perfection and
Mm.
being on the treadmill. Mm.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. And how was it in terms of that, like getting in touch with your emotions and managing those and your nervous system? Like how did that help you? Was it great?
Yeah, I'm a massive emotional suppressant. Like they're just really inconvenient to me in my type A, Enneagram type 3, just performance mode. They're just a massive hindrance. And so actually having to, recognize that I have emotions, um, and unpick what they're trying to tell me, I think was huge.
Yeah, I mean, and being able to do that obviously helps you regulate with your child, right?
Yeah, yeah, and the nervous system side. That honestly to me was a massive revelation. No one had really talked to me about regulating my nervous system. Like it seems mad, but I think I come from a highly nervous lineage of women, potentially. And that's just not a concept that ever featured in my life. And recognizing that you actually just have to actively stay on top of um your own state of your own nervous system was actually, yeah, again, quite a revelation, to be honest.
Mm. And look, it is for many. Most people have never ever been told about their nervous system or
Yeah,
that we are completely responsible for our own and how unique it is as well. So
yeah, what your triggers are, and yeah, it's definitely, that was probably one of my biggest revelations actually right early on. I remember telling one of my very learned self-aware friends about it, and she looked like she'd known about this concept 20 years, and I felt so behind that hateful, but I was like, no one's ever told me that you need to get your nervous system regulated. I thought you just kept frying it until you fell over and then you tried picking yourself back up again. Mm. I thought that's how it worked.
yeah, that's so funny and such a gift, eh? Such a gift to know this as a mum so that you can pass it
Yeah.
on to your kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what would you say to a woman who's, on the fence wondering, should I do this program or not?
Oh, I would 100%. I just do it because I feel like almost like a veil got lifted from my eyes and I could actually see the world clearly. It's like I saw this new dimension to emotional reality that I didn't even know existed. And I'm like looking back, I'm flabbergasted by it. But it's just, it's made all the difference in my ability to, yeah, regulate my emotions and not lash out or blame other people for my own internal discomfort. Yeah. And that's a game changer, frankly. Mm.
Amazing. And how did you find working with me as a coach and being in the sisterhood as a group?
Yeah. Well, I was worried about the sisterhood thing, being someone who's like women aren't really what I naturally gravitate towards it. But I found it they're actually really amazing and the vulnerability very helpful because I can only be vulnerable in the face of receiving vulnerability or seeing vulnerability. And so that was amazing. And Amanda, as a coach, I have to say her insights and intuition were razor sharp, and I have very high bar and expectations in that area. So that that's a very unique gifting and ability to facilitate a group discussion with high emotional content is very difficult, but you manage it very well in a way that doesn't seem rushed or dismissive, but also keeps people focused. And I think that's a really unique talent. Yeah.
Oh, great. I'm so pleased you were happy with it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're fantastic. It must be nice to know that you're doing what you're born to do.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I'm really passionate about it. And yeah, and it was such a pleasure walking alongside too.
I
So good.
coached around along the way.
A typhoon with a typhoon. It's just perfect.
Well, it actually helped because I felt like you kind of understood me as well. Because often I feel like I've been paired with people who like are just not on my vibe at all, and I'm like, you don't get me at all. But I felt that you got me, which was helpful. Mm.